So, rightfully so. I mean, interestingly, AEW has its like vice presidents of the company, executive vice presidents of the company. Executives within the company are actual active wrestlers. So their EVPs were the trios tag team champions, so 3-man tag teams, which was the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, who are all the executive vice presidents of AEW. CM Punk just won the World Heavyweight Championship and bashes the company, like I said, goes backstage, and go figure, the people who built the company are not happy with him. They get first into an argument and then into a physical altercation that gets all 4 of them suspended. Now, I don't know if it was because of the fact that Punk knew that he was also injured in that match that he had to win the championship, that he was going to just talk shit about the company because, hey, I'm going to be going away anyways, so I don't need to give a shit about what I say. But boy, oh boy, was that just another decision. So, yeah, I don't know, like I said, Punk, did he know that he was going to be going on medical leave because of an injury he received, and so he's like, I don't need to give a shit what I say. Nothing's gonna happen. And I'm gonna, you know, give up the title anyways because I'm gonna be out for months with this injury. Or did it just happen that he just figured, hey, I'll just say whatever I want, and then afterwards it's like, oh yeah, by the way, I also have this injury that might keep me on the shelf for a while. So, like, that following week of content, Tony Khan has to make an announcement that both the Trios Tag Team Championships, which were just won that previous pay-per-view weekend, and the World Heavyweight Championship, which was won that weekend, both of them have been, like, all of those titles have been stripped of their owners, and all of the people who had them have been suspended. Okay, good job, guys. Because of a backstage fight you got into. Okay. So they get suspended. The Trios champions come back from suspension better than ever. And Punk does not come back, and that's when it's like, oh yeah, he was out on injury. So meanwhile, in the WWE, it's around that time. Well, while Punk is on injury, he is taking a flight somewhere. I can't remember from where, but he's headed back home to Chicago. And he gets on the flight, and there are a number of WWE stars because, hey, guess what? Raw, Monday Night Raw, the flagship show, is going to be in Chicago tonight. So he talks to a bunch of them while he's on the plane. Some of them even invite him back to come and visit some of his old friends, you know, visit the Coliseum or the stadium or whatever. So he does it, and he's backstage during the show, and he's talking with people, burying the hatchet with some of them that he had problems with before he left many years ago. And he also talks to Triple H, who is the creative content officer, the CCO, or chief creative officer, whatever. The COO, CCO, whichever it is that he is. He's also a wrestler, a former wrestler, I guess. He's long since retired, but he's one of the best, one of the greatest. And he's like, hey, am I good to be here? And Triple H is like, it's not up to me, it's up to the you know, head honcho, Vince McMahon. But he's like, we can have a conversation. They don't ever talk behind closed doors or anything like that. It's just a conversation that they're having. And eventually somebody does come up and says, hey, you know, Punk has to leave. So, and without any sort of incident, Punk does in fact leave. That news story hit at some point that was what happened while Punk was on medical leave from AEW. So that was already signs. It's like, okay, he's mending the fence there with WWE. He might jump the fence, make his way across. And then Tony Khan. We'll get into all of what I think of Tony Khan, but honestly, he should not be in charge of a wrestling company. But anyways, Tony Khan is in talks with CM Punk because of the fact that there are people within the company who are like, he is never going to be setting foot in here again. I will make sure of that. Chris Jericho is one of those. Chris Jericho is one of the all-time greats, and if he is saying you're not going to set foot in this company again, it's going to be a big problem if you do. The less HP, no, we're not going to do that one. Yeah, give up on reversal. So, Tony Khan, in all of his acting, he does actually have some good ideas, figures out a solution to that, which is that he is going to create, kind of like how WWE has a brand split, where some people are on Raw and some people are on SmackDown, and they don't cross over. So that is what Tony Khan was going to be doing. He was going to create this brand split by creating he already had 2 shows, which didn't make sense why he had to create a 3rd one, but okay, sure. So he has, Dynamite is like the main show, and we're starting off this Collision, which is going to be the new show that CM Punk is going to be on, and anybody who doesn't have problems with CM Punk is going to be on, and anybody that does have problems with CM Punk is never going to show up on Collision, is only going to show up on Dynamite. Hey, look, alright, he's hatching. Okay, Meowins. Why is it always normal poison? Or why is it always poison? Why always a poison type? Okay, but thank you for hatching new Pokemon. King Smiley. King Smiley 124, thank you for being a subscriber. A Meowins curls itself up in a spiral while it rests. For some reason, this Pokemon loves shiny coins that glitter with light. Sure. And, it's got shed skin. Lovely. Where was I at now in my little spiel? Oh yeah, so Punk's gonna be the like, flagship or on the show, and only people who don't have problems with CM Punk are going to show up on Collision because CM Punk is going to be the champion of said show. And he comes back from injury with a great promo, as CM Punk usually does, because CM Punk's great on the mic, really he is. Dropping pipe bombs even when they are going to shoot him in the foot or cause problems. But he always has fantastic promos. Okay. You wanna be that way? Let go. Shockwave. Pain in the ass. I gotta go back and heal. So yes, Punk comes back and he's got his shoes and a bag, and then the bag is supposedly the world championship he never lost. In his shoes, he's just like, I'm here until somebody can beat me and blah blah blah, where they're gonna take my shoes away and then I'll retire, sort of thing, or whatever. It was actually a really good promo, but I can't remember it. It was a couple years ago. I just remember him having his shoes, and he set those in the ring, like, I'm not going to be leaving until somebody can take these from me and make a reason for me to not be here anymore. And then the belt he had in the bag. And it's around that time that all of the problems with WWE's executives, and by executives I mean executive Vince McMahon, starts happening. That there are allegations of Vince with hush money and payoffs to former employees and just problems. And so Vince retires from WWE as chairman. He steps down or whatever. He retires, and his daughter and Triple H kind of take his place, which would have ushered in the start of a new era. And it's like, oh shit, because that was, I think, when WWE was kind of at one of its lowest points lately. Was before Vince left, and then Vince left, and it's like, okay, like they had mass exodus. Mass exodus, that's the word I was looking for. So many people leaving because of Vince, it seemed like. And they were jumping ship to AEW. AEW was picking up so many people. They had, in WWE, it was Cesaro, and also Daniel Bryan, and Aleister Black. And they come over to AEW, and they become Claudio Castagnoli and Bryan Danielson and Malachi Black. And it's just like AEW could be taking over in the ratings, and they've got CM Punk, and they've got this new show, and it's amazing. And then comes the next incident. I mean, then comes WWE getting rid of Vince McMahon and Triple H and Stephanie taking over, and they're bringing people back in because people actually like Triple H and like what he does with the business. And stop paralyzing me, you fuck! So then WWE starts taking a turn for the better. Then it's like, hey, look, we don't suck as much anymore. We don't have Vince to drag us down with his crappy storylines. So we got some good stuff going on. And then AEW starts having its own problems. One of which is that Tony Khan can never just shut the fuck up and can't ever stay off of Twitter. Because the man just has to have an opinion and voice his opinion even when it is problematic for the company. But we'll get more into that a little bit later. Into some of his decision-making skills. No, not nickname, item. Escape rope, nice. Thanks, Edie. We could go into Diglett Cave and start using water moves, I guess. I'm just getting tired of the paralyzing, you know? Where else could we go to train a little bit? Nope. Didn't mean to keep going straight there. So, fast forward a little bit more. Okay. Blaze, you really needed to hit at least once there. Ha! Asshole. Fuck you, Pidgey. You jackass. Okay. Real quick before I get distracted and get into a fight that's gonna get Blaze killed, because I don't want to get Blaze killed. Okay. Full health. There we go. So, like I said, fast forward a little bit more. I'm trying to remember which happened in what order. So Punk is on Collision. He is sitting there as the head. Like, I'm fairly certain he was like a writer for the storylines on Collision. Like, he was in charge of like everything that went on in the show. It was literally the CM Punk show. If you have a problem with CM Punk, you're not on the show because this is the CM Punk show. And it's like, okay, that's cool, I guess. And CM Punk and friends, you know? That's what Collision was. And meanwhile, WWE is getting back to being pretty good because of the fact that they don't have Vince McMahon kind of screwing them over with bad decision making, old ways decision making. Maybe this area is a little too high for us to fight and train in, because boy oh boy, after every fight do we have to heal? Okay, so let's maybe go back I've got a couple areas I can try. And so Vince comes back to WWE. I know, right? After all the allegations that they had against him, you'd think he'd be done. But he comes back to pick up his old position just in order to sell the company, because there's a whole thing where they're gonna do ended up doing a merger with UFC, making the parent company TKO, and that's WWE and UFC together. They've got events together, supposedly, where they've got people in both industries showing up at each other's events. And they have a way where it's like, hey, if you're getting too old to be an MMA fighter or a UFC fighter, you can come on over to WWE and we'll still have a place for you here, right? And so that's what they have in place now. But that's what Vince is coming back for. So then there's another mass exodus, it seems like, when Vince came back, even though he wasn't really in as much of a capacity as he had been before. But it's like, oh, he's just here to sell the company, to whatever. But then he becomes the chairman of the new parent company, and it's like, that's not great. Again, he's back in control. And so then it's like, oh, AEW is going to be going back up. That's great. AEW is going to have some great ratings. And then comes the infamous backstage fight that Punk got into again, because he just can't seem to be at peace with people. And one of the, I guess, homegrown stars, Jack Perry, who is known as Jungle Boy, which is just hilarious. His entrance music was Tarzan Boy from I can't remember what the band name is, but it's so weird and funny. It's like, that's an interesting wrestler's entrance music to have. But Jack wants to do a spot in his match where he gets thrown through a windshield that has actual glass or something like that. Or he wants to be thrown through something that has an actual glass. And the risk for injury is very high. And CM Punk is like, no, don't do that. We don't do that here. And he goes and does it anyways, and then looks right at the camera and is like, cry me a river. And then, backstage, the two of them get into an argument that then leads to Punk attacking him, and leads to CM Punk getting fired. Oh, wait. I'm trying to think here. Yeah, because Vince... I'm trying to remember here both sides of it. Vince came back in January of 23, and Punk ended up coming back to WWE in November of 2023. So I can't remember exactly when, but sometime within 2023 is when the sex trafficking allegations came to Vince McMahon. Yeah, Vince's a great guy. Needs to be out of wrestling just as much as some other people do. But anyways, so Vince gets removed from any sort of thing of TKO. He is no longer with any wrestling company. Meanwhile, Punk gets fired from AEW for the fight with Jack Perry backstage. Nope, not that. And nice. Then, yeah, November of 2023, Punk makes his return to WWE, something where everybody said hell will freeze over before that would ever happen. Well, hell froze over because Punk was back, Punk's back in the WWE, which is great for him and everything. You know, I generally am the type of wrestling fan that is much like the wrestlers themselves. A wrestler, you know, goes and becomes successful in a company. That's great for them. If it creates great content, that's great. I'm not like, oh, you have to be on AEW or you have to be on WWE. Wherever you're at, it doesn't matter. But as long as you're, you know, creating good content and not creating problems for everybody and being controversial with some of your beliefs and other things. This area might be a little high for us too, because one of those Raticates could just kill us with one of those Hyper Fangs, I think. So, oh, egg hatch. It's a man dude, or my dude, my dude, my dude. I mean, even though my dude is a great name, we have to give him a nickname. That's something that we have, you know. I think Austin Shot. Is that right? Yeah, Austin Shot would be a good my dude. Thank you, Austin Shot, for being a subscriber. It climbs mountain paths using only the power of its arms. Its strength lets it easily hoist a sumo wrestler onto its shoulders. What shoulders? It's just a rock with arms. It doesn't have shoulders. Alright, we now have that done. Okay. So now we are going to put Austin away. Okay, so now we have an open slot. We got fire water, we got ground dragon, we got electric fire, we got electric normal, we got flying poison. What if we just fused Gyarados with Nidoking? Poison flying or water ground? I think we could do water ground. Yeah, let's go for it. Nice! Gira King! I like that one. Not that one. Meh. Those are pretty good, but this is gonna be our one we go with. It's like they know some of the really good ones. Gira King's thick tail packs enormously destructive power, capable of toppling a metal transmission tower. When humans begin to fight, it will appear and burn. Okay. So, poison point or intimidate? Ooh. That's a good question. I think it would be better to intimidate. Attack up and defense down. Or special defense up and attack down. Special defense up. Combined movesets. Leer? No. Twister? No. Ice Fang? There we go. There's something we can do. Chip away. Seeks an opening. The user strikes continuously. The foe's stat changes don't affect the damage. Let's get rid of Ice, or get rid of Ice Fang. Aqua Tail instead of Poison Sting. Gira King. Rename you. What do we rename Gira King to? Alright. Hold on. Is that right? I am Zadrotko. Thank you for being a subscriber. Zadrotko is our Gira King. Okay. I think we've got an interesting party here. See how it turns out. Where was I? I think now that we have I am Zadrotko, we could probably switch him up front and have him tank some of these things, huh? What is his moveset again? Double kick, Aqua Tail, Ice Fang, and Thrash. Okay. So where was I in my CM Punk return to WWE? And I forget. I forget where I was. You missed with Aqua Tail? It's not great, bud. It's not great. Is there a better move you can learn instead of Aqua Tail? Dig, Brick Break, Sludge Wave, Sandstorm, Rock Tomb, Aerial Ace, Torrent, Flame Charge, Thief, Sweep, Water Pulse, maybe? 60 power versus 90 power. Give up on Water Pulse. I don't have Surf yet. Damn. Alright. God damn. I'm trying to think where you would be best suited, you know? Meta level 36, but he's level 33. Ha! So, you're an attacker. Physical attacker. How's everybody else at? You're kind of split, but you could be an attacker or special. You're an attacker, interestingly. You're an attacker. You're an attacker. You're an attacker, even though your special attack's buffed, I think. Is that right? The blue is the buff and the red is the debuff, or... okay. Where do we go to train now that we have... We need a good place with, like, some ground types. Or some fire types. Let's go back to Diglett Cave, see about that. Because that has, like, anywhere between level 18 and... it's got Doug Trios that could be really difficult, right? Let's give it a shot, though. How bad could it be? We're ground type, just like they are. Ground resists ground, right? Right? So yeah, CM Punk returns, WWE. And... that basically eliminates all possibility of any... I mean, it's not anything good, but any sort of momentum that AEW had in standing a chance against WWE, competing with them. It's like, well, you literally lost CM Punk, even though he seemed to be the one instigating those sorts of fights, and therefore, you know, he could be considered the problem. he is a very big draw. So many fans all over every single place that WWE ever went since his departure from WWE. Every stadium, there were always people who would start a chant of CM Punk. All the time. And so it's like, you finally get him back into the company. Yeah, of course he's going to be a big draw for the company. So it's like, good luck, AEW. You're now delegated to second place with no shot of getting into first.